Hey, this is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan. So not that long ago I made a response video to a TikToker who goes by the name of Primal Physique. Remember that guy that made that video on the beach about how the vegan diet is BS?
Here's why the vegan diet is BS.
So since then I've learned a couple more things about him. Firstly, he makes pretty much all his videos on that same beach wearing the same thing. And secondly, and most importantly, and why I'm making this response video, is that he at one point on his TikTok channel on the same beach made a why I'm no longer vegan video. Yeah, he said he was vegan and he tried it and failed it. So we're going to watch his video as we do all other why I'm no longer vegan videos and see if there was some compelling reason as why he had to stop eating plants, he was going to die or something like that, and to see if he ever was vegan. Did he even understand what veganism meant? So let's jump right in.
Here's why I stopped being vegan.
So there you go. He identified as having been vegan in the past when he ate this certain way, and he titled his video why he stopped being vegan. Just want to point this out in case anyone watching is thinking I'm doing some kind of shady trick here saying, no, he was never vegan, he just ate plants, experimented with it. No, he called himself vegan, so let's just get that out of the way.
I went completely plant-based for 10 months, but I went back to eating meat. Here's why.
So here he calls what he was doing completely plant-based, and that's accurate in the sense that he's describing the diet, but then he said he was vegan as well. And as you'll see here, I think he just gets those two terms confused. I don't think he makes any distinction between them. And there's a huge distinction, just in case you didn't understand the difference. Vegan is not a diet. It's a stance against animal cruelty and exploitation. Whereas plant-based, on the other hand, describes a diet, a way of eating. But there's no moral or ethical component to being plant-based. You could be completely plant-based, eating nothing but plants, but still be pro-animal cruelty and exploitation. Like say you were forced onto a plant-based diet by your doctor because you had advanced heart disease or something like that. It doesn't make you vegan if you still go out and hunt and stuff like that. But anyway, let's get back into this guy's video.
1. Even after 10 months of fully adjusting to eating plant-based, whenever I smelled or saw meat, I still wanted to eat it. So it didn't feel right for me to ignore what my body was clearly telling me, based on the conclusions of some biased research other people did. And
so much wrong there. I don't even know where to start, but I'll just start with that end point about how based on the biased research of scientists like that. No, veganism, again, it's not something you do scientific research on. It's a stance against animal cruelty and exploitation. Really, what he's got confused once again is veganism versus plant-based diets. I'm sure he's talking about the science, the studies that have been done on plant-based diets showing the many benefits, and that's not up to opinion. You disagree with how the research is done. This is the scientific consensus. After having reviewed the scientific literature, organizations of health professionals have determined that a well-balanced vegan diet is nutritionally adequate for all people. So please don't have the arrogance to make it sound like you know something that the scientists don't know, that you have debunked the scientific literature about the positive benefits of eating a completely plant-based diet. Anyway, enough of that. So let's get back to the main part of his video, his big argument here as to why he couldn't be vegan.
Whenever I smelled or saw meat, I still wanted to eat it. So it didn't feel right for me to ignore what my body was clearly telling me.
Again, so much wrong with that. I don't even know where to start, but I'll start with the obvious here. I mean, if you had a stance against animal cruelty and exploitation, you wouldn't act upon that impulse. If you truly believed animal cruelty and exploitation are wrong, despite your cravings for meat or whatever, you wouldn't act upon them. Let's just look at other instances of where you might have a desire to do something that is immoral and you don't act upon it because it's immoral. Like say you have the urge to go like beat up some guy, or God forbid, kill him. You know, maybe he really done you wrong or something like that, or just psychopathic murder. Do you say, oh, well, it would be wrong for me to ignore what my body and my whole being is telling me? I need to go beat up or kill that guy. I can't ignore that. It must be right if I feel it inside so deeply. I mean, by that same reasoning, people who commit sexual assault could justify their immoral behaviors, their actions that exploit the rights of other fellow human beings because it feels right to them. I mean, what kind of reasoning is that? If it feels good, if my body's telling me I want it, it has to be okay to do. That's just horrible, horrible reasoning. And on a similar tangent of reasoning, just because you crave a particular food, and you're abstaining from it doesn't mean that you should eat it, that it's good for you. That's the reason you're craving it. Like right now, I sure as hell crave some dairy-free Ben & Jerry's Cherry Garcia. That would be so amazing to eat. Should I eat it? Is it good for me? Hell no. It's super high in saturated fat, which raises your LDL cholesterol. Not good for preventing heart disease. Full disclosure, I've never been addicted to heroin, but I would imagine that people who are addicted to heroin crave heroin. They might be trying to fight it, abstain from it, kick the habit, but hey, if they followed your reason, hey, there's a reason why I'm craving it. I should just go do more heroin, right? So instead, what he probably should have said in his Why I'm No Longer Vegan video is, yeah, I ate plants for 10 months, and I did it for health reasons. Maybe I wanted to get more shredded, have a couple more packs in my abs here, but I got sick of it because, you know, I was just doing it for health. I didn't give a crap about animals, so I just started eating animals again because I craved them. I didn't want to give them up in the first place.
2. Not all meat are created equal. Grass-fed steak or wild-caught fish is very different from a Big Mac burger.
I know meat lovers like to think that, and we'll explore some of the science about that in a second, but what they conveniently ignore is that killing an animal is killing an animal. I don't care if the animal was factory farmed, exploited its whole life, or if the animal was like born in your backyard and you gave it a name and you bathed it every day, it slept with you in your bed, and then you finally slaughtered it. Yeah, sure, it lived a happier life for its short existence, but the bottom line is you murdered it. You killed it so you could eat it. When the point is, you don't have to eat animals. You don't have to kill your backyard pet. You don't have to eat animals from slaughterhouses. You could eat plants instead because you don't need to kill animals.
But when vegan studies or documentaries want to convince you to go vegan, they speak against meat because the studies they use grain-fed meat with refined carbs or industrial seed oils. And they conclude that it's the meat's fault.
Once again, there's no such thing as vegan studies. You can't study veganism via science. It's a philosophy. It's a stance against animal cruelty and exploitation. Yes, I've heard this a ton of times before from people who are trying to encourage people to eat meat, but the right kinds of meat, because the right kinds of meat are actually really good for you and don't have any of those horrible health problems that the bad meat has. Well, there's a little bit of truth to this. Well, he's right in the sense that grass-fed beef has lower total fat content, more heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids, more omega-6, and more antioxidants. But guys like this always conveniently ignore the fact that both grass-fed beef and conventional beef both contain saturated fat, which has been linked to unhealthy cholesterol levels, and the American Heart Association recommends limiting saturated fat. I mean, saturated fat is saturated fat. It's a chemical, it's a molecule. It doesn't matter if it comes from conventional beef, grass-fed beef, or coconut oil. It's all the same. It all raises your LDL cholesterol, which is associated with increased risk of heart disease. And furthermore, there's very limited research that shows that consuming grass-fed beef versus conventional beef is actually better for you. And I'm not just giving you my dumb Jim Bro opinions here. Everything I just showed you here is reference from the Mayo Clinic, an organization of health professionals, ones that are actually quite knowledgeable about heart disease.
And 3, I fell in love with spearfishing, and something that feels so good cannot possibly be wrong.
Bro, you just restated your first reason again. Remember the one we just said where you're plant-based for 10 months, but your body still wanted to eat meat? And how could that be wrong if you wanted to do it so badly? Same thing here. Hey, I want to go spearfishing so badly. How can that be wrong? And I'll just spare you my long response. Same thing. Just because you want to do something and you actually derive pleasure from something doesn't mean it's actually a good thing to do. It could be an immoral thing that you take pleasure from. I'm not going to go over the little list I gave earlier. I don't want to dwell on those horrible topics because YouTube just might take my video down. I mean, it's just 100% clear from watching his Why I'm No Longer Vegan video that he was never vegan. I mean, never once did we hear anything about animals, animal rights, or anything like that, any concern about animals. No, just YOLO, go out and spearfish, eat the steak because your body's craving it. He just did it for health and seemed like he did it against his will. So his whole video about why he's no longer vegan is BS. Yeah, he put vegan in the title.
Here's why I stopped being vegan.
No, bro, you were not vegan, you were plant-based. And I want to say, in case anyone's offended, I'm not saying plant-based is bad. I know many fine people who come to a vegan diet for non-animal rights reasons. And that's fine, that's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. They're not like bad people or anything like that. But just because you eat plants doesn't automatically mean you're vegan. And if you don't understand what I'm saying here, just rewind back and watch the first like 2-3 minutes of this video. So anyway, before I go, I want to make it clear that I have nothing personally against Primal Physique. I'm sorry if I came off a bit strong here. I just get pissed off when I see people misusing the term veganism, claiming they were vegan, and therefore all the horrible things that happened to them while they were vegan and why they had to quit. And once again, no, never vegan in the first place. So please, people, learn what veganism is and stop misusing the word and stop spreading misinformation about a healthy, peaceful diet that's good for you and good for the animals and the earth and everything. So anyway, guys, leave your questions and comments down below. Let me know what you thought about this video. Let me know if you thought I was wrong. Let me know if you thought he was actually vegan. I mean, I'm going all in here. I'm saying no, he's never vegan in the first place. And if you're watching, you think everything I'm saying is wrong, you think I'm a horrible person and I'm a liar and I'm putting out dangerous information that could kill you, please come and tell me on Fridays on my live streams, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and just be civil and I'll give you a listen. So that's all for this time, guys. Oh, let me know what you thought about my new change in lighting here. Did you notice this room's not as dark and spooky as before? Let me know if you like this new look or do you like the dark look more. I'm just playing around having some fun. Anyway, guys, let me know down below about that too. And until next time, remember, doesn't suck being vegan.